Oop, that does have to change. We'll just slide that out of there. Yeah, that should be a quick thing. We should be live, by the way. I'll have to actually make a thing and then share it out. But that'll be quick and easy. There we go. Whoops. Do 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 do. Then I'll go and do that. Go to Discord. Go here. Do. Don't mind me just finding all the self-promo channels. Okay. I then do done think it is podcast time. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
I'm doing.
What have we been up to? Let me think. Since the last time we podcasted on a Thursday, oh boy, I've worked. Think that's it.
Fair.
I am really trying to think if there's anything I watched. And I don't think there is. I don't think I have anything interesting. I don't think I've read anything particularly new or caught up on anything yet. I am starting to prep the spreadsheet for shows for next season selection.
Oh boy.
No John today. I guess we'll do that. He is with significant other for birthday. And also has a flight tomorrow, which probably have been the main reason he didn't want to do so late, but he seems fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his flight's tomorrow at least. Who knows? Maybe he'll watch the live stream and we'll get to have him comment. There is something really funny that's going to happen on today's stream, but we unfortunately have to wait for that. Mason, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I have been re-experience Final Fantasy XIV vicariously through my friend Cody. It's been very fun. He's just about to finish post Heavensward content and getting into Stormblood now, which is certainly interesting in that Heavensward is kind of the point where everyone goes, oh fuck, this game's really good. And then Stormblood kind of takes it down a notch for a little bit and then gets really good by the end of it. So I'm excited to see how he feels about it. But he's kind of fully invested in that game, so it's very fun to watch. Aside from that, not a whole lot.
I wouldn't know anything about vicariously reliving games through other people. Never happened in my life.
Never.
You've never experienced that for 7 different games.
It definitely isn't the reason why I have predominantly not played as many games that I've had played other games with people, and by that I mean watch other people play a game in recent years. I probably would have played more things if my time wasn't eaten up to playing
Yeah,
two particular franchises twice with different 3 times on occasion depending on the one.
Yeah.
And Fire Emblem Three Houses is taking up like almost 2 years of my life for no good reason.
No, there was a good reason. It's a good game.
I think so. Oh, you might be wondering, Sean, have you gotten to play Engage yet? No. Why, Sean? Because anytime I pick up my Switch, I'm playing the GBA Tetris port that's in the Nintendo Online GBA. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's Tetris. I like it. It's a problem. I will eventually. The bigger thing is I don't feel like hooking up my Switch right now, and I want to play that game docked. I don't want to play that game handheld.
Fair. See, that's me with all of my games that I own on Switch. Where I'm like, yeah, I should probably play that, but my Switch is not set up.
Mhm.
And like, I always bring it, and I bring it to friends' houses, and I don't feel like taking it down. Because like my one friend's house that I go to, his dock is fucked.
Mhm.
So like it only works with his Switch.
That's
So
crazy.
I need to bring my dock to show it for any other Switch to show on his TV.
Why?
We don't know why. It's just that's just how it be.
What have you been up to, Michael?
Fucking nothing.
Oh,
Destiny?
I see. Not even.
Yeah, I have finished my big Destiny
yeah.
grind for the next few
Month.
months.
Nice.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to be on it constantly.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like I've done the big grind. Like I'm at max power level until like for like 5 more months when they increase it. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
guess.
you know this is coming. But
I
have
put the
to
whole
ask.
3 hours in another game that another friend started playing called Elite Dangerous. It's like GTA in space, I think. I don't know. I haven't been able to play a ton of it because the game just
Saints
kind of
Row?
drops you into a big open. No, so
More
it's like
space.
GTA Online in space, kind of like Sea of Thieves in space, where you just you kind of
It's like
have people to
Destiny,
do
but not
missions
that
for.
much space.
No, like my brain thinks, but like in Sea of Thieves, where you are just thrown into an open world without, and you just do like missions for people to obtain money to get better things. Except in this game, you actually get better things. It's not just cosmetics. The issue is that I don't particularly feel like doing all this random stuff alone. And the one friend who's been playing a lot is in another. So the whole game takes place in the Milky Way galaxy, in a 1-to-1 scale version of the Milky Way.
Crazy.
Oh, dear.
And the spawn area is nowhere near where he is right now. And I'm not going out alone because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. The game gives you negative tutorials. It literally goes, okay, so this is how you shoot gun. This is how you fly spaceship. Go.
Mhm.
Which is nothing.
So I do have something. Michael, you'll be proud of me. I'm no longer functioning off my PC on a Chromebook. I got a gateway. Cause I didn't want to dish out a lot for a very big laptop, and Michael knows this. I don't use laptops to game. I use laptops to work. And do like writing and other things. So it's
Chromebook barely functions.
correct. It's nice. Jump scare.
Oh, yeah, no,
Jump
I have
scared
one
a
of
ton
those
of
too.
people who just
break
heart
laptop
attack. Yeah,
jump
just
scare.
break laptop jump
Just-
jump scare. Jump scare.
I have one of those. I for a while there, I used it as an OSU machine.
Yeah. I could understand why.
Yeah.
No, but I'd like it so far. Haven't done too much. I will be doing some D&D prep on it probably tomorrow. See how I like doing map making on it. Not implying that I had to make a map for anything tomorrow. Also, Michael, are you free tomorrow night? Is that gonna be fine?
I mean, if I don't pass out, yes.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to mention that. That'll be my criteria for that session too. Is so long as you are alive. Because I've done that recently where
I'll be able to get through it. It's just
how active will you be?
I will be tired. I am waking up at 6:30 tomorrow, so I will be tired by 10 o'clock.
That is fair. And with that, good luck to John. At Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck to our boy. Also,
We're rooting for
thank
him.
him for this wonderful photo I'll be using in place of him. His the only thing
Little
she
guy.
needs, the only luggage he needs, which he also posted 2 days before he even left, or 3. And guys, don't worry about it. This is episode 8. I promise you, there's nothing weird about that title card. Now it's time for the thing, of course.
I am terrified.
We have a first in podcast history. Where is it? Oh, I'm not in
There's
the
no
right
way it's the
spot.
whole thing. As you said, it's not a thing we did. It's not a full match. There's no way. Because, like, the way you talked about it, it can't be a full match.
Hey guys, here's this week's power ranking. Nothing's wrong here.
I was fucking right. He put the wrong show on the fucking power ranking.
He did indeed tell me he did still watch High Card, and the power ranking does not change, which I think he means High Card goes where Angel is, but I like to think means that it's still not on the list.
Oh my
Because I think that
God.
would be really funny, which is probably where he stands, knowing him. I'm leaving it like this though because I think it's hilarious. And to help him realize what he did, because I sent him, John, what the hell? and he goes, what? Don't worry, I don't see the problem. And I send him the vote off sheet. And he goes, Sean, this is voting. And I go, mm-hmm. And then a little bit later he goes, oh, I really thought we voted off High Card. I'm like, you voted off High Card, I think singularly last week. But yeah, with that, we can probably won't be the longest episode of the podcast, which is a good thing. Those are episode 1s and sometimes 2s. We are here for week 8 though. 5 shows left. Slight difference of opinion this week though. Otherwise, one that I kind of am very interested, would have liked to hear John's thought about. Because we have a break of top 3. Which has happened obviously this season. Spoilers incoming for episode 10s and below. Do not spoil anything past where we are, obviously. You will be murdered. John said Angel was good this week. I believe him. I just don't need to be clear.
It probably was solid.
I just don't need to, verify that myself right now. Let's get into it. Tomo-chan. Hi, Michael. This is the episode where I got something spoiled for me despite having read the manga. Can you guess what it was?
No.
The ED.
Oh.
I had the ED spoiled for me this week because this week
ED
we
went
have a new ED.
crazy.
So
That
yeah,
was really
it's so good. I also had something spoiled for me for Trigun, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
I wonder what it could have been.
Tomo-chan, yeah, I wonder.
Like one super spoilery event that happened.
Yeah.
Tomo-chan this week. 2 parts. First part, race. They are racing. They run, well, it's a marathon actually. I like this part of the episode a lot. It really, I think it is a very good culmination of Jun and Tomo, expressed in this race. And then further expressed by them hitting the point where it's his girl's turn back, and Tomo's still running, and Jun goes, why? And she's like, since when have we ever cared about competing with other people? Who is going to stop me? There is no one faster than the 2 of us combined. And then as they start running back down the mountain, passing everybody who's like, what the fuck is wrong with them? They're monsters. Tomo collapses, and everyone explodes, because Tomo has never once been sick or frail in her entire life. And Jun's like, Tomo, what weird thing did you do to cause this to happen? She goes, nothing. I just trained the entire evening, then was out super late, and then took a bath and woke up naked in the bathroom because I may have passed out in the bathroom. Whoops. And Jun goes, you're an idiot. He then finishes the race with her on his back and comes in first. We get a scene where Tomo wakes up. Carol is sleeping in the nurse's office bed next to her, and Gundo is visibly shaken by Tomo's slight sickness. And then Jun reappears, and Gundo just looks Tomo, just whispers to Tomo, "You better take full advantage of this. This will never happen again. Now is your time." And then drags Carol out of bed. At which point then Tomo goes, "You, upsies, carry me." And Jun goes, "You seem fine to me." And she goes, "I wasn't awake last time. Carry me." He goes, "Wait, what? Okay." And then her mom picks her up, and then her dad comes running after them with leeks because he must cure them. He must cure her. And it makes lots of sense why they left him out of the car. And then we get the second half of the episode, which is the middle school flashback, because we've had almost every other time period flashback, and we've been here a little bit too with the talking about Jun and Gundo's relationship when they dated. This part of the episode farther reinforces the fact that Jun is a dog. He's just a big old puppy dog. He goes to school, very excited to be in school with Tomo. Then sees Tomo is wearing a skirt and delivers one of my favorite lines, which is, "Don't you think the skirt's taking it a little too far? Don't you think? That's a funny joke. Don't you think?" Oh no. He then no longer knows how to interact with Tomo for that day, and then as he starts to try to interact with Tomo, realizes that people start to think they are dating.
Because it is middle school, and if a boy and a girl interact, they are dating.
And
that
so
is the rule, apparently.
Yes, and so he makes the only rational decision, which is to ghost Tomo for a whole fucking year. Jesus Christ, my man.
Middle school.
Middle
Who
school.
hasn't?
True.
Isn't they certified middle school classic?
And then we get to the interesting part, which is Gundo realizes that even without Jun, Tomo spends a lot of time doing athletic things, and that hasn't changed since getting into middle school, which means it's never going to change, which means she cannot keep up with Tomo. So, her and Jun at the same time conjured this convoluted plan that the best way to figure out how to get Tomo to stay a friend with them is to date somebody. Just put a fake relationship in front of her and see what happens. And then we get what is, I think, a truly wonderful part of this episode, which is both of them go, "I'm in a relationship." And Gundo's is, "This is weird, I'm in a relationship, and I don't know how to feel." And Jun's is, "Holy shit, I'm in a relationship with a girl, with a hot girl. Holy shit, I'm in a relationship." And he's just a dog. He's just a big old lovable dog, who is just happy. It's the comedy bit that is, girls are happy when they're in a relationship with a guy who's like semi nice. Guys are happy when they get any affection whatsoever from another entity. That is Jun here. And then we see that we know how their dates went not very well. Who can blame a man for wanting to fish with his girlfriend at the right middle school age? And then we get the reflection, which we didn't really have, well, from Gundo, which we didn't really have before, which is, yeah, this isn't working. In fact, this might have made things even worse. Realizing that if this is what Jun's like, oh boy, Tomo. And then she's like, and then she is sulking in the classroom, and Tomo looks at her and goes, "No," and drags her out of the classroom before first period starts, and Gundo goes, "What are we doing?" And she takes her to the middle of the schoolyard, and is like, "Hey, what's wrong? You're not allowed to escape this conversation." And then Tomo's just like, "I don't see what you're worried about. You're my best friend. Like, we're gonna be fine. In fact, don't you think it's really cool that I'm sporty and athletic and you're, like, smart and not? Because then I can be an athlete and you can be a doctor thing." And Gundo falls apart at the phrase doctor thing, realizing that her best friend is it is in fact just a himbo. We love that for her. And then Gundo goes, "I must rectify my problem and break up with Jun," which we also did know beforehand, goes the other way, where Jun breaks up with her because he realizes, no, wasn't right to do it this way. I have to address the other problem, which is I have to go talk to Tomo. And so approaches Tomo after a year of no contact, to which Tomo punches him in the face rightfully. Uh, they walk home together, and she punches him again for being an idiot and thinking that she cares at all how other people see them. And then they both friend zone each other really hard. And then we hard cut to the current timeline, where June walks out of his house and goes, "Ah, fuck, Tomo's cute. QED, where the boys sing." It's really funny to have this. I will say the thing that's funny about the CD is that the other guy's just there. The guy who likes Gundam.
Really, it's one of those things where I'm like, from what I understand, that there's no way that actually goes through. We have 2 episodes left.
I will
Gundam
tell you,
has done nothing but hate this man.
I will tell you, there is not anything from the manga we are missing in relation to their character dynamic.
I assume it just feels really funny that they're like, yeah, we're gonna have this in the ED. I'm like, I understand that the joke is that we have the trio of guys and girls.
Yeah.
Because he is like a named character.
Mhm.
He's appeared significantly more than a lot of other characters, but still, we've seen him a total of like 4 times.
It says something that the manga shows. The manga at the start of every volume does like a little character introduction where like it'll pop up all the important characters, and for the first couple of chapters, it's Tomo, June, Gundo, Carol, the two females who really like who have a crush on Tomo, and then they eventually get replaced by Tomo's parents. So like it's one of those things where he's never even included in that, which poor guy. Also no OP this episode. Good choice.
Yeah.
It works really well. It makes it add to the contrast when you go to the middle of the episode, and it very much tells you by its like mid-card scene swap that this is going to be like a very important half of the episode, where it's a black title card behind it, and it's the outline of Jess, June, and Tomo, which I also really liked. I say it every week. I love this show.
I know, this episode was great.
Yeah.
It's sad I had to put it at number 3.
Yeah.
Very close. I will say very close.
I think
probably
it's also a great episode, but
it is probably dead even for me with Buddy Daddies. Because I really enjoyed Tomo. And I also Buddy Daddies. We'll talk about Trigun. Hey guys, it's me again. I never stopped talking. Do you guys want to say anything more about Tomo before I have to talk high card more?
Because you guys don't watch it, Dub is great. Dub is fantastic. These characters are wonderful. All of their voice actors do an amazing job all of the time. There are multiple times where I'm just sitting there, and then they hit me with some out of left field bullshit, and I just have to stop for a moment. I'm like, no, hold on, what?
We do get a little in like the flashback panel of June going, wait a minute, I'm an idiot. Of course she's been a girl the whole time. One of the flashbacks is them younger of Tomo walking out of the girls' restroom. Which I mentioned to Mason. One of the chapters we skipped is a very short bit where June just walks into the woman's restroom behind her and gets punched. Which again, we're not missing much by skipping that chapter, but it is great that he's done it multiple times. That it just slips his mind because he's a dog who goes follow. Also, holy shit, June's buff.
Yes.
Like this episode in particular, because it's a racing or like a running based first part of the episode, you realize how ripped he is.
Yeah, no, the fucking delivery and the entire thing, where she starts getting carried, she's like, "Wow, June, you've gotten big," and he's like, and he just goes, "So have you?" And she goes, "What does that fucking mean? Call me fat?"
We do not get that. He says it quiet in the sub, so she just goes, "Huh?" So very good.
Oh yeah, no, the dog,
Very good.
You call me fat? He's like, "No."
God. Hey,
Wait, did you guys get a line from Carol as her and Misuzu were leaving the infirmary, or no?
I don't.
Because Carol on the bed whispers, "Make him do everything for you."
Maybe
It's fucking
we
great.
might have gotten something close to it. I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
This is one of those shows like Kaguya where I will gladly rewatch it a second time in a dub, because I feel like I will enjoy it equally as much, if not more.
I
Okay.
think, yeah, I'm about there with you.
Hey guys, it's High Card. This week on High Card, we get the best line ever. I can't handle this screenshot.
Yeah, oh my God.
I
saw that, I
know-
was like, this has to be a screenshot.
I know this is a serious moment and line, and it is a really cool scene in the episode, but out of context, the sentence Tyler played a form of kind to save his son at the cost of his own life is some kaiji level shit, and I love it.
He played a 4 of a Kai.
Okay, so Mason and I are on the same, whoops, wrong one, are on the same opinion this week, which is High Card better than Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Michael, you and John are not, but let's talk about High Card, before we get into why those things are. This week, Finn's been saved by, I can't believe I can't think of her name.
I think it's Aya.
Aya? It's close.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
It's close to that. But the target they were sent to take out, to get the card from. I made a word like that because that was how it felt like it was presented to us, and then we learned some things this episode. Firstly, wow, totally missed the little small print there that said 12 years ago, under that photo, which made my call last week about this being a relative completely wrong. Was not ready to get High Card as in, like the organization backstory. This was really cool.
Yeah.
This was super nice to see. What's the Pinochle guy's name?
Theodore.
Theodore. To see younger Theodore, her, Tyler,
Yeah.
and
Tyler,
the other person who we don't get a name for, because there's 4 of them there too. And we see she has the Joker of clubs. Jack of clubs. I meant Jack.
Our first face card.
Yep. Which gives
and boy,
some...
is it fucking stupid.
Boy. But she
Still not as stupid as fucking I have telekinesis with no set of limits.
Which
but,
again,
you know,
gives me a pretty good idea of what that card is. But yeah, so we get this. Basically, she's like, "Hi, I saved you," and Finn's like, I'm gonna go," and then he tries to move, and you realize he has purple around his lips, and she goes, "You're gonna die if you fucking get out of those covers and leave my house." Maybe not a good idea to be knocked unconscious in a river, bud.
Soup.
So Soup. You're a part of High Card, huh? Interesting. So was I. And Finn goes, "What?" Yeah, Finn goes, "What?" And then she explains that she really liked working for High Card. She enjoyed it. It was cool. It was a badass, cool thing to do. And then someone acquainted to her died, and she went, "Oh." And that maybe wouldn't have been a problem if Theodore didn't go, "Leave him. You have to go get the card." And let's be clear. It's very obvious this episode is making it important that this is also like a spiritual thing for this character. Like, there is a level of, like, faith and connection and value of life this character has. That Theodore going, "No, leave the person and go get the card," was a bad move on his part.
I mean, I feel like in every interaction we've had with Theodore, he's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah. And then another terrorist attack happens. And we see that Chris, who she's alluded to Finn that she knows, as a small child has been critically injured to the point that he is not going to pull through with any medical technology they currently have, which seems pretty good in terms of medical technology goes. At which point, his dad, Tyler, who they hinted at this by when they showed the group shot, his eyes just being red. I guess that was or little, they're so similar. He basically goes, "Hey Theodore, I can save my son right now if I X hand." Is that what it's called? Is
Yeah,
X,
X-hand.
X-hand, yeah. If I
High
X-hand.
hand.
Yeah, if I X-hand. And his dad...
Crosshand.
And Theodore goes, no, we're not allowed to do that. The king says no, especially not for personal reasons. You know this. To which, I walks out of the room in a very upset way because Theodore goes, this is fate, you have to let your son die. At which point, she then uses her card to pull an object in the room, slamming him against the wall so that he can't move to stop Tyler, and goes, Tyler, if you're gonna do it, do now. And then, not what I thought was going to happen, because we've only seen an X-hand with 2 cards, the man does the thing I really wanted this show to do, which the structure of a hand you make with an X-hand matters for what you can do, and he plays a 4 of a kind, which are all the 5s. Which is important because Chris's card is the 5 of hearts. And one of our cards that's currently in this episode is the 5 of clubs. I wonder what Chris wants to do with those. Either way, Tyler sacrifices himself, and I decides to leave the organization and gets left alone for a long time. We then cut back to Pinochle, where we see that the others have succeeded in their jobs. They have the cards. I don't remember what they were. I know I didn't write them down. I should have. But they have their 2 cards back. And they're like, Finn and Chris aren't back. We should go do something. And Leo goes, we can't. Dad said, don't mobilize. Orders are orders. And then we eventually get a scene where it's him and his father, and he's like, I'm worried about them, and his dad just kind of shrugs. Deal with it, kid. We then see that Chris is getting tortured, by one of the scrubs. And
not Alex Alexander.
Yeah, and that it seems like he doesn't have his card on him. That or he shoved it down his pants, and the guy just hasn't looked in his underwear yet, which I think is what that line from Chris was getting at. As at least you need to be more thorough, my dude, as his pants are still clearly on for censoring reasons.
I assume he's not looking for Chris's card, because when you play a card, it disappears until you stop playing. I assume he's trying to find Aya's card that he assumed Chris has at this point.
But Chris hasn't played his card at this point. Because his wounds haven't healed. He doesn't have the card active.
See, I thought it was just like he could choose to heal because it's a stupid thing. I don't know.
We can go double check. The way to know this is whether he has the gloves on, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if we ever get a good shot of his hands.
When he goes, when at the end of this episode would be a good time to check. Because I think we do get a pretty good... When he jumps out of the car and drops kicks a man, which we'll talk about in a minute. But
Alex Alexander.
So we get like this moral conversation between I and Finn, where she basically goes, "Hey, so what would you do? What would you have done in my situation? Because even to today, I don't know if I made the right call because someone still died." To which Finn doesn't answer. He just goes, "I would work harder," because he's an idiot. And she's like, you know what, kid, you're funny, take my card. And then they walk outside and Alex is there, and Finn goes, ah, shit, take your card back. Funniest shit on the planet. Funniest shit to be like, yeah, take my card. And then the guy shows up and Finn's like, oh shit. And she goes, my card? He goes, yeah, no, take it. I don't know how to use that. You fucking do your thing. And then she starts to run circles around Alex to position things behind him so that she can pull them towards him and start to bury him in rubble, which doesn't work because he fucking just creates stone around him. He then just blocks Finn's line of sight, which doesn't matter anyway because he could have just kept putting up stone walls because, again, really bad matchup for Finn here. And then he does the most insane play I've ever seen, which is move to the entirely open area of the field so nothing is behind him. He then creates a crater and slams Ai into it, and then Chris drives a car into him. Well, sorry, he drives a car, jumps out of it, drop kicks him, and then they all team up to kick the shit out of Alex. At which point, they get the car back, and I think, is Finn handed the card, or does Finn hand it over to Chris? I know Chris winds up with the 5 of clubs. I don't remember if he winds up with the jack.
I don't think he ends up with the jack.
Well, I don't know if we know. But the important thing is, Chris goes, Finn goes, hey, why haven't you healed your wounds? And then Chris goes, sorry, you weren't supposed to really find out about this, and then shoots Finn. Notoriously in the area where Finn's pocket protector is, where he keeps the card.
So he's fine.
Yeah.
They literally Chekhov's gunned us the location of the card earlier by showing it. By having Aya pull it out of that pocket.
Which we know he played it, but he keeps it in that pocket. He has the entire show.
Yeah.
So what's Chris doing? Is he trying to collect all the 5s to potentially save somebody's life?
What does he say when he gets it? Is it the last one or another one? Because he says something when he picks up Alex Alexander's card.
I don't remember
the 5.
which one it is.
Which is where it clicked with me that he's collecting the 5, because I don't remember what fucking card he has. We haven't seen his card since episode 1, like, visibly.
I knew his was the 5.
Well, yeah, because you're a fucking nerd. Mr. Spreadsheet.
But what I have not been updating that spreadsheet. What do we think?
No, I thought this episode was solid. It's just, it doesn't, like, save the show.
Well, no. It certainly doesn't do that. But I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Like, it does a lot of cool, like, world-building lore stuff. I like them, like, just exploring what X-Hand does. That's neat, because they just randomly fucking showed it with Bobby Ball, the stupidest introduction to a thing ever, going, X-Hand, and you just go, what?
He's like, what? What is this for? What's going on?
What is he doing? Why is he using a second card? Because up to that point, we were specifically told you could use one card. And it's like, soul linked to you.
Yeah, the card picks the user. Until you forcibly removes it from them. It's also important to note that Finn makes a decision. It's interesting. It does it seem like to you guys that when Chris pulls the gun, Finn thinks he's gonna shoot I
thought he was going to.
Because Finn's whole thing is, whoa, bro, we got the card. No, like, he's kind of like, there's no reason to kill her. And then he shoots him, which is an entirely separate thing. But to me, that's what it felt like, where Finn was like, whoa, I know we were supposed to kill her, but what if we just leave her? Because what is she gonna do with her big old doggo out here in the middle of nowhere, besides have crucial, vital, confidential information?
Her dog has a card.
Her dog
it's
is
like
a card.
Devil fruit.
She is the dog has a stand. It is a turtle.
No, see, the dog is actually a gun that has the dog card.
Dog fruit model dachshund.
Yeah, it's actually a gun.
Or my favorite option of that, the sword that has the elephant fruit.
The sword has a stand.
But I think that I like this episode. I agree that I definitely don't think it saved this show from its inevitable elimination. It's just a matter of where does it stand with the other option this week. And what I'll say is, while I think both shows are doing things that are slightly predictable, I did like the world building and additional, no pun intended, flushing out of the system in this show.
Haha.
I mean, it's been amazing. I don't think it's to anyone's surprise that you have this over Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, because that's kind of how you've been the whole season. We haven't had like a point to talk about it. Where it's
I honestly, for the past couple of weeks, I've had Sugar Apple over this. I just really enjoyed this episode of High Card personally. And I wasn't as in on Sugar Apple Fairy Tale this week. But like, they're both doing good things. I think overall Sugar Apple Fairy Tale is probably a better show so far. But I liked this episode more this week.
By the way, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale is getting a second core in the summer.
Interesting.
Good
Cool.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand it's a pretty decent length, popular
Oh yeah,
manga. Like, I don't know what
I
its
am
source
not surprised by
material
if
is.
something like Kuma
Yeah,
Kuma Kuma
not.
Bear can get a sequel.
True.
An orphan can run 3. I think it makes perfect sense that this gets a...
Sorcerer's Stabber Orphan the remake can get 3 seasons.
Crazy. Well, let's talk about some pain now. Let's go into one dose of pain before we then jump into another.
Yeah, the show fucking stabbed me for 20 minutes straight. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, this episode hurts.
This
Yeah.
episode's so fucking good. The mom comes back.
God. Sorry, I'm just remembering a line from her.
But yeah, so this episode essentially focuses on the mom comes back to pick up Miri. And the guys are rightfully say, why the fuck now? You literally told me you wanted to throw her out, that you didn't want to ever see her again. Kazuki is rightfully pissed at her being here. But then Miri enters goblin mode, and as she sees her mom and goes, "Holy shit, it's mom!" I needed that screenshot the moment I saw it. I didn't think I could get the screenshot of her, but it's just she fucking goblins.
It's so good.
But yeah, so we learn through stuff, through like later in the episode, that the mom is no longer a singer, because she has throat cancer, so she can no longer sing.
Jesus
Which,
Christ, dude.
Holy fuck! I was not. It's one of the things where they have her in the scarf, and I didn't think about it at first, but like, there's like a single shot where it looks at her scarf, and I go, "Oh, there's something wrong with her throat." That scarf's there intentionally. She's hiding something.
Here's a good thing this show does. Put a character in a situation where abuse is very prominent and have her talked about being thrown out by her man, and then have a scarf and you go, "Oh, damage to the throat from physical abuse." And she goes, "No cancer," and you go, "Why?
Yeah,
Why?
exactly.
We had other options, show."
No, it's cancer. Well, the idea is that she wouldn't have been thrown out because she's a good singer, but now she can't sing, so what use does she have?
True.
But her whole thing, she's like, yeah, I want to, essentially, she doesn't know how long she has left to live, so she wants to get a restart on life with her parents, and she realizes that, yeah, she may not have treated this daughter as well as she should have up to this point, but it's the only thing she has. So, like, Goblin.
Goblin.
Can't believe John packed Goblin Mary to go with him.
Goblin.
This is an incredibly serious episode, by the way.
And she fucking stands it.
Also,
Miri doesn't know. Miri doesn't know what's happening.
I want to talk about this real quick before we move on to everything else, because there's going to be a lot to kind of unpack in this episode. Props to the show for having a child be able to deliver a line in a setting which is, "My mama taught me how to sing," when the entire classroom knows she has 2 dads and no one bats an eye because they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
And the idea is that Anna, Anna also, in that case, doesn't really have, she doesn't need to care. She's probably like, yeah, she had to have a mom at some point. She had to be born.
I'm not gonna question where this most likely adopted child came from. Not my place. Also, Anna can't sing. Bless her heart.
Anna, she was kind of rocking on the piano for like 10 seconds there, and then you realize, oh no. Oh no, she knows music. But yeah, so also the mom then brings up, she's like, yeah, I know you guys do some dirty shit for money, and they go, fuck, she knows. We can't deny it.
That's the only card we were hoping you did not have. That's the only thing that really puts us in a bad spot here.
So they go to Q, because, or I think she says Q told her.
They find out that he told her when he tells them. But they go to Q to Q to vent, because that's where they go to vent and get ideas.
They go to their homeboy Q. And he's like, yeah, I told her because you guys have been getting sloppy. Which is a fucking lie. Well, yeah, it's the truth that they've been getting sloppy. and it's because of her. But he doesn't care. He's doing this to get her out of their away from them, because they're being targeted by the organization currently, and he doesn't, and he cares about the three of them because Q's a good guy. He's a homie. And then we get the start of sad times with, yeah, we're gonna go on a big trip today, and you're like, oh god, I don't want to watch this. It's sad.
Best day ever.
Yeah, so that they go to like big mall with lots of amusement things. Like they got ropes course, they got video games, they got parfaits or something.
Ren goes goblin mode
crepes.
on a rock wall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kazuki's
really bad at rock climbing.
He reminds us why he's not cut out for this fucking job. Why the fuck was he ever in this line of work?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and then we get like a bit in the middle with Kazuki on the phone. I believe it's texting the mom that it's this place we agreed on at 6, and you're like, oh no, it's gonna happen. No, I don't want this. They go on a Ferris wheel. It's adorable. It's very sad. Everyone's sad.
My brain, I saw the Ferris wheel, and throwing back to Terran Resonance, I was just like, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah,
It says something.
My brain saw it, and they were like on it. I was like, oh no, is this gonna fucking stop? Is some bad shit going to happen right here?
Well, of course,
are they gonna fucking die?
Ferris wheels are the most like you are so confined. It's why it's used for both intimacy and like very dangerous situations, and either one, the other, or both. But no, Mason, I had the exact same problem where the only Ferris wheel scenes that live forever in my mind are the episode of Monk where he fights on a Ferris wheel and Terran Resonance. That episode of Monk's really good. And Terran Resonance, in Terran Resonance where they do the shot of Kazuki and Rei sitting across from each other, and of course this is not because it's taking the shot from Terran Resonance, but instead because there is no other way to frame a Ferris wheel shot when you're sitting inside of it that my brain goes, that's the shot from Terran Resonance. One of them doesn't have a bomb strapped to their chest. And then Kazuki says this, and he has a bomb strapped to his chest.
Yeah, then Miri gets given to her mom, and Kazuki's very sad. We get the moment where they're
liar.
like, "Oh no!" Yeah, he's also like, "Yeah, it's a sleepover with your mom.
We'll see you tomorrow."
See you tomorrow. Die, not me. Die. It's not them.
Props to the man for letting her walk away, even though he very much did not want to, and all he said was, "I'm going to bundle you in, Scarf."
God, this episode fucking hurt.
Yeah.
This episode covers all of its bases, because it even brings up the conversation. Q starts it, and they continue it later, which is, one day she is going to realize you killed her father, and what are you doing then? It is better to cut this now. At which point the guys talk about it, and Kazuki's like, what do you think she'll hate us? And I fucking love Rei. I love the fact that I think he is probably the best consistent written character next to Miri in this show. Which is his response being, she would not get it right now. We could, it wouldn't make any sense to her. So there's really no point in like even theorizing on whether or not you should do it, because she's a child. She doesn't understand assassin murder yet. Also, God, Miri's so good. As a child of a separation, not one that happened when I was this young, but oh boy, the entirety of my papas gave me this. Wouldn't it be great if I could have you and my papas? Which just makes you for the whole episode scream, live with them. Just move the fuck in. Live with them. I know they're assassins and this is a bad idea, but live with them. Make the child happy. I want Miri to be happy.
The funny thing about the show, it's like I always forget that they're rich. Like my brain, I know they spend so much money on everything, and they have this massive apartment. But like it didn't, like my brain never like clicks with stuff like that until like I get like specific things. Like when he talks about the fucking food he makes, I'm like, oh yeah, That means the city spent $1,000 on hamburg steak.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
There's a lot of things going on in this episode that, like, if it was longer, you could have a lot of time potentially diving into and exploring, but you don't need to. But, like, this is also this is probably, like, the toughest fucking scenario you can put a kid in to make a choice for, because even you as an adult trying to make a choice for her, you then go, okay, yes, you can give her back to her mother, which there is legal right to do, but also precedent in the past that would make that maybe a bad idea. Her mother has cancer and doesn't know how long she's going to live. So if you give her back to her mother, what do you do with her mother when the cancer finishes? Does she? Difficult part 1. 2, she has now had such a quality of living that moving her back to her mother is going to cause complications. And it's like, that's a whole nother level you just don't get to consider in the moment. Really, nobody is in the right or the wrong in this episode about this decision, which I think the show does a really good job of portraying. Besides the fact that they should just do whatever they can to make Miri the most happy, which is let the girl decide. It's almost like letting children decide what they want is actually a good thing, in important situations. And that the fact that she wants them all to be happy and do things together would be a really good idea. God, they also portray the mother really well in this episode. To show the change, like, the way she looks and acts in this episode shows the change she's been through despite not having been on screen for 7 episodes.
Which is, honestly, like, that's damn good, like, writing and animation.
And just character design thing.
Yes. Like, good on the studio for doing this, where you can make a character that hasn't shown up in this amount of time, who we have hated the entire time they've been on screen, and go, wow, yeah, I kind of do feel for you, even though I still don't like you.
It also really, this episode is like, yeah, this is why we've had all these moments with Rei and Kazuki too. Like, any growth they've had has all been for this decision to have to happen, because this decision cannot happen with the type of person Kazuki was and the type of person Rei was. You need both of them to have gotten this far and have changed this much, for them to get to the point where Kazuki can get upset, seem sensible and not like he's being written as an irrational person, which is very nice, and also have Rei go, okay, but we can't do this, right? Rei does not ever tell Kazuki, hold on, she has a point. He is by Kazuki's side the entire time, backing him, but he's making sure they don't do anything stupid publicly, which is so nice. They also throw out that little, Q kind of throws out the only other option you have is overthrowing the family. Woo!
I can't wait for that to be where
Rei gives a look.
Yeah, he does.
He thinks about it. He really does think about it.
So I guess the idea is that if Rei takes up the mantle, he can let Kazuki leave and let Kazuki be with Miri, but at that point Rei has to run the family and leave them. Like, that's where this could be going.
Or they just...
And that's also gonna fucking hurt.
They just bring the whole family in and they train Miri to be a cold-blooded assassin.
True.
This is how Miri becomes Yor.
Yeah, this is actually a prequel.
This episode's really good. It is only at 3 because of my Tomo bias.
It's only at 2 because
wholeheartedly admit.
No, I will say that I think Trigun's next. Trigun's a much better show. Trigun might be one of the greatest anime ever fucking made.
Yeah.
But fuck you, this episode is really good.
I am
my show.
I am see, and I'm gonna say it now as we have the lead up towards the finale. I cannot guarantee you that I won't make the boldest decision on the planet, which is to potentially put Tomo at 1, even with Trigun Stampede on this podcast. I need you to understand that's not because Trigun's bad.
1, because we have 3 other people putting it at 1.
The point is that I literally thought to myself, I went, what would Trigun have to do to make me put it at 1 over Tomo? And I went, literally make me have an emotional breakdown about something. And I thought, I went, and I don't even know if that's enough. And that's a terrifying position to be in with a love for a show. But hey, you know what? We can talk about it. Hey, Mason, it's Trigun
Hi.
time.
So, a lot of things happened this week. So we get a little bit more of the talk with Zazie and Meryl and Roberto, and then Conrad walks in. We actually get his name this week because we didn't get it last week. I just read the the episode preview kind of thing from last week to get his name. And he kind of explains to them why he's been doing this stuff, and why he's been working with Nye, and he kind of essentially tells them, look, I feel responsible for all of the awful things that have happened to Nye and the plants, so I'm doing this to atone for that sin. And I will continue atoning for that sin for the rest of my life.
Overlaid, by the way, with the conversation between Nye and Vash, which is you will never be able to atone to the humans for what you've done. Which, I mean, come on. God, this show's so good.
It's so good, dude. Yeah, so at this point, Conrad ends up leading Meryl and Roberto into this room that has a bunch of test tubes that have various stages of experiments in them, which are essentially like hybrid plant humans, just like Nye and Vash, but more like scientifically inclined, I guess. And one of them is actually one we've seen before, and it's the one that pops out when Meryl said, Conrad asks Meryl, how do you feel when you see these things? And she goes, I pity them. And the one that's in the main test tube goes, I don't need your goddamn pity, and almost kills her. And it's the girl that we saw before, that was with Blue Summers, which I still can't believe that's his fucking name.
And Conrad earlier too.
Yep, and Conrad earlier. And it turns out her power is she can just create spikes and shoot them at people.
I don't know if she has like a set that she can throw at people. We know Knives just fucking makes them.
Yeah.
So we don't fucking know. But she seems very sad when Wolfwood breaks some of them.
Yeah.
So like, I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the death flags appear.
So they run, and they get to the area where the elevators are, and Roberto hits the elevator and goes, all right, we just need to survive until the elevator gets here. They talk some shit with this girl. They haven't given her name yet. Eleonora? Yeah.
Conrad does say it, because when she first breaks the tube, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Not my plan. Stop, please.
Yeah, because he actively doesn't want Meryl and Roberto to die. She continues shooting at them. They keep dodging, and as the elevator comes up, Wolfwood and Vash pop out and start shooting the spikes and kind of taking her attention away from Roberto and Meryl. Meryl and Roberto get in the elevator, and Vash and Wolfwood stay. And we get this cool scene where Wolfwood, first of all, kicks the shit out of this small child and knocks her to the ground. And goes, hey, quit doing that shit. And she's like, fine, okay. And then they just leave her be. And then we cut to the elevator.
I thought you were going to segue into we got this really cool scene and then go straight into this. I was about to fucking kill you, Mason.
I debated on it, but then I realized there was other stuff that happened before that. And then we get this really cool scene where it's the elevator, where Meryl and Roberto are going down the elevator. And Roberto, as they're getting into the elevator, we see that he's kind of like grabbing his side a bit. And I noticed this throughout the episode. I was like, he's grabbing his side. That's scary. And it turns out he took a spike directly to the fucking gut. And he ends up telling Meryl, basically, look, I'm gonna fucking die. I've made my peace with that. You go do whatever you want to do because you can go do it. You're smart. You have the ability to make whatever you want, whatever you want possible. Go do it. And then gives her his gun and fucking dies. And wow, Roberto's death hurts a lot because it's not.
He finally calls her Meryl.
Yeah,
instead of calling her Newbie.
Second time.
Yep, but he calls her Meryl Strife,
Yeah, full
which
name.
he's never called her by her full name. And then we cut back to Wolfwood takes Vash up to see Nye. Vash thanks Wolfwood for being with him for that long. Wolfwood tells him, look, you're going to have to make a choice on either killing him or dying. It's one of the two, but you have to make a choice. And Vash steps in and starts talking to Nye. And I'm blanking on the conversation now because I watched this like 3 days ago, and I watched all of the shows in a row.
This is where Nye's like, you aren't doing this you aren't protecting them out of your love for humanity. You're doing it because you're trying to atone, and you'll never atone. Eat shit.
Eat shit and die, nerd.
And this is where we get the proper Conrad, backstory where Wolfwood walks up to him and is like, "Hey, give me," and he gives him the deed to the orphanage, I think, or it's
the deed to the orphanage, and it's a contract saying his services have been rendered.
Yeah, to which Wolfwood's like, this doesn't fix anything for what you fucking have done to us, and Conrad's like, I know. And then we see that Conrad thinks about the fact that he clearly experimented on Nye, and maybe is the root cause of all of this.
Yeah.
Question mark. Also, Nye has eyes inside his claw hand. Why? Where? Why? And then, Nye drops his patch down a tunnel.
Yeah. He drops it down a tunnel into water and says that he's going to remake him, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to essentially re-educate him.
Something.
Memory.
All I can say is that Vash latches onto the ceiling with a grappling hook in a way that makes him hanging by a thread, which makes me think of something in particular that Mason will eventually get to experience. Smile.
Oh boy. But yeah, that was Trigun this week. Fucking ouch, dude.
Hi guys, spoiler image for how I knew this was coming. Thanks, Crunchyroll. This happened when Michael mentioned the thing about Tomo, and I was scrolling to find that thumbnail to be like, what was the thing he was I saw it and I was like, I'll try to forget. Very hard not to. So it's very hard for me to speak about how that would have emotionally hit me if I didn't know it was coming.
See, Sean, you mentioning the word forget reminded me of the Ruby spoiler that I saw forever ago.
God.
It's one of those things where I'm gonna forget it. Like, even if I forget it, the moment I see her watching Ruby, I'm gonna immediately remember it.
Yeah.
So it's never going to leave my mind.
Probably
major spoiler.
Hi, Shippuden spoiler. I'm gonna try not to say it, but there's a death in the war that I knew was coming, and there's no way you can forget about that if you know it's coming, no matter how much of a filler you have to sit through before you get there.
Yep.
Oh, the big one?
Yeah, surprised you weren't spoiled about that.
I was very lucky to not get spoiled on that one, and I recognize that.
No, some people are able to just avoid spoilers. I had a friend watch Lord of the Rings like a few months ago. He went into it not knowing Gandalf dies.
How?
The same way I watched a streamer play Final Fantasy VII completely blind last year.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That's
I knew about the Aerith death before I knew what Final Fantasy VII was.
Yeah.
Before I
Yeah.
fucking knew what Final Fantasy was on an
Yeah.
AV.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
because that's one of the biggest video game twists of all time.
Okay, some people are able to just avoid spoilers. I don't know how they do it.
Reminds me of the TikTok post that's just the girl who's like, I just finished the Last of Us TV show. Gamers, you're telling me that video games are like this? Why did you never say so? It's like, what world did you live in? That your only exposure to video games was either Call of Duty or Mario Kart, I have to presume, are the two sides they
Mario
think exist.
Kart.
Mario Kart 2. Get her Mario Kart 2.
Let's
Sorry.
go.
God, I sit here watching this episode, Trigun Stampede, and the only thing that runs through my brain is, how do you think this show looks bad?
Seriously.
It's still just there where I'm like, the echo chamber of... It just solidifies the fact that I know there will be a subset of people who just hate CGI so much, they'll never be able to come to terms with it ever looking good, no matter what it gets to.
There are shots here that would be impossible to do without it. The big pan shot over the city, like over
over
Oh,
July.
July.
We didn't talk
We
about
did
this.
July.
July
Yeah,
looks
Yeah, we didn't
so
talk about July.
pretty.
Yeah.
that would have been impossible to do without this. There are
July
shots that
looks
look
so
2D.
good.
There are so many times where if the
Yeah.
models are still, it just looks 2D. Like it's fucking Dragon Ball Fighters or any fucking CC2 game at this point.
Mhm.
They all fucking look amazing. It's crazy how people can be like, yeah, this is bad. Like I don't get it. What the fuck was original Trigun like that this is somehow worse than it?
I mean,
I don't
it's,
get
so
it.
here's the answer, right? It's one to me, in my opinion, it's either you really don't like CGI, or you have a really large nostalgic love for that original sharp. I don't want to say hand drawn because we know it's not to like fully. You know, there is some.
No,
element
it could have been. It's like a 2000. It's
But
like a
it's-
super early 2000, not late.
If you
90s.
add like
It's late 90s.
Trigun looks,
Like, that would have been full.
Trigun
anime.
looks like Bebop does, where it's that really nice art style that just clicks and is very expressive because of how they do stuff. And I get it. Like, I get loving that. You can love both. You don't have to. You don't have to hate this.
Like the only thing I can see is like people disliking the character redesigns because they made Vash a fucking twink.
But
And
man,
now
is
he looks nothing like he did originally.
Man, is he a hot fucking twink though?
Yeah.
I mean,
He
you're
takes
not
off the
wrong.
he takes off the cape and the jacket and the shirt this episode,
Yeah,
and
I'm just
boy
like,
is he fucked
fuck.
up. You know it's bad when a man whose title is the Gravedigger, the Undertaker, looks at you and goes, "Holy fuck, man! What's wrong with you? This is what you do to protect humanity? Stop! Jesus Christ, Bash! Stop killing yourself!" And he goes, "No." I love Vash so much.
God,
Oh,
this
the
show's
show.
just so fucking good.
Let's talk. Hey, guys, this week slapped. I want to let you know that I have a show at 5, and I don't even like that I have it at 5. Right? Like,
Right?
we say this a couple of times. This show could have been a top 3 show in a different season.
We say that about every show and every.
Sure, but are
So,
you
like-
telling me that this maybe couldn't have given season champion Sasaki to me? No,
That's the season we always fucking cloud on. There's so
Yeah.
many shows that would've
It's
won
that it's
season.
that one in Skate, right? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, anytime a show that wasn't technically the best show of its season wins, we're like, okay, I get it. But have you considered we all really liked this one, and it was maybe better than a slightly divisive show? Hey, it's Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Hi, Michael. Here you go.
So there are some sugar apples in this
There
fairy
are.
tale.
There actually are.
So this episode we get more misogyny because of course we need more misogyny.
So much misogyny. It's rooted in religious subtext. Weird. Never heard of this before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right?
wild.
I wonder
Um,
where they got the inspiration for this episode.
So yeah, she needs to help make the sugar because that's how she's gonna get it for the competition. And after not even after a single day of working, she's given the okay to go make her own, which that was fast.
It's a little weird.
Okay, I guess it's just the leader of the Radcliffe School is not an asshat.
Yeah.
Which I guess we learned at the beginning that he's just like a dude. He's not an asshat like everyone else in his school is.
He just seems like he's busy.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And
He's old and busy.
And he's also like, hey, don't make me disown my own nephew. Jonas, stop fucking up, please, God.
Yeah. God, Jonas sucks. He's the fucking worst. But so then we get him. She goes to try and help, and everyone's like, "Oh no, we must massage it and yell at her for being a woman trying to do a man's job
And then,
because misogyny."
and then Kat goes,
And then she
"Fuck
fails
off."
immensely at
Well,
trying
yes,
to do
that
the job.
too.
She's really bad at it. I don't know what is she supposed to do? Her full body weight isn't moving this thing.
I don't know, it seems like most guys can't even do it for more than a minute, so like, also fair, maybe you all suck.
True.
Maybe you need a more efficient way to do this.
Yeah, and then also that Adam, essentially she starts complaining that, she gets pulled aside by a new character gets introduced because he's like name dropped earlier this episode. Because Kat's like, they're like, yeah, Kat, you have an assistant here. You and Elliot are gonna be running, and he's like, Elliot, that fucking whore.
From the page
it's
school.
like-
I love Kat.
And it's like, damn. And then Elliot shows up, and he's the worst.
Correct.
I hate him.
Yes.
Elliot's character trait is that he's
a
sexist. His character trait is Chris without any of the good parts of Chris.
His character is Sylvain with literally no good parts
without
of
the
Sylvain.
good parts of Sylvain. He's Sylvain without a backstory. He literally just goes, yeah, you know what women could be doing? Talking to me.
In the
Yeah, that's what-
his options are in the kitchen, shopping, having tea, talking to me.
Then we meet his wife, who's a slightly more tolerable character only because she has a personality. She's still the worst, and I hate her.
Yes.
Um,
She serves a role in this story that I despise, as I
Yeah.
think most people do.
her thing is that she hates her fiance, who is Elliot.
Which, you know what?
because-
Fair.
Yeah, no,
He's the
completely
worst.
fair.
But see, she sees Shal and goes, "Oh, he's hot."
I
Which, like,
won.
true.
But yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I want him." She's like, "Hey, Anne, can I buy him?" And Anne goes, "No." And Shal goes, "No. If you want me, steal my wing and order me to." And it's like, what? Huh? But yeah, so, and shit's happening. Anne's having a conversation with Keith about some stuff about doing sugar shit because they're sugar artists.
We
they're
see
doing
his
sugar artist
art,
things.
which, Jesus Christ, man.
He's really good at sugar artisan things. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we get the very forced we got him put a tiny rift in the relationship as Shal is confronted by a girl I don't care to remember the name of. But like Anne sees this through a window, so you doesn't get to hear anything of her walking up and like trying to hug Shal as he's like, "Get the fuck away from me." But she doesn't see that part. Super coincidentally happens to look away the exact second Shal pushes her away. And Shal's like, "No, fuck you, I don't like you." And then Shal happens to see Anne being pulled along by the hand by Keith as she's laughing because that's what you do. People do that. And they're like, "Grah. Oh no, did they like another person? Oh no." But then we get this really good scene with Shal. He's like, "Damn. Maybe she wasn't the only one who didn't want to get separated." And you're like, damn, that's good. That's some
Damn,
good shit.
You know what's crazy about this? That plotline works without having to introduce the daughter of the Page School. And I think that's what, like, I said it when Keith got introduced. Like it's so obvious what his role in the story is on a romance level, right? I really like everything he has for the sugar contest actual artisan level. I think it's really interesting. because of the fact that he's meant to be a potential love rival, he feels very sinister, but also sometimes he just feels sinister. Like, I wasn't sure about it last week. This week he has lines where I'm like,
so
you're so
I think
good
I
at...
know why.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because part of why is that it seems like her idea for her submission was going to be for Shao, and she can't do that anymore because he is now using Shao as his mom.
Mm-hmm. It's
Which
also...
is like...
I also
the
get
nature
this...
of using Shao just feels really wrong because of like Shao's whole thing.
Also, he feels like he's gaming the system, right? Like, he knows what to make and like what the royal family likes and is strictly going to appease it. It's like, that's not... For you, that seems so weird. And then also, there's this weird, like, I'm waiting for the show to do it, which is drop the bit where where it's just like, it'll be okay if Anne... Like, I'm waiting for him to go to Shell and be like, it'll be okay if Anne loses, because, you know what? If I win, I'll be a sugar artisan master, and we could wind up together, and she could just be married to one. Like, I feel like that's where they're pushing this to go, and I'm like, no, don't you dare even insinuate the idea. And it's just like, there's a lot of stuff in this episode that just has such a lot of things that, if the show is the one that stays, I want to see turn a little bit. Boy, I get why you're doing it. Do you need to stop pulling Anne off of fucking screen have a guy pull Anne off the screen and make it seem like it's okay to do? We get Michael, you were about to talk about it, and then you realized you were talking about it too early, and then we didn't get back to it, which is she tells all the artisans off because they're trying to rush the process, which would make it sloppy. And Keith pulls her out and is like, hey, they were going to realize that anyway. You didn't have to do that. But also, it's fine. You're running out of patience. It's like, okay, stop being condescending. She was in the right, you know she's in the right, and there was nothing wrong about what she did. In the worst case scenario, some guys in that room actually have gained respect for her from that outburst, and the guys who didn't like her still don't like her.
Also, this is after she got knocked to the ground by that one asshole.
Fucking Sam.
Yeah.
Samuel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, come on. Like, it's a real good scene for her. In the same way that it's like, I have such a problem with Elliot pulling her off the handle, only for her to go back on it. It's like, there was no reason for you to do this if we were just going to let her go back on it and show that she can't do it anyway. Right? Like, it's so... I get it. It's doing its job of making me frustrated at how the world is treating her. But it's already doing that without some of those scenes. And I feel
we didn't
like...
need Elliot or his fiance
that's really... I only have a slightest bit of hope that she potentially becomes a character who grows more into, like, her own bodied character. Because of Anne. Otherwise, I really don't like her being here. And like, I get it. This is a trope you do in romance, right? Like, you do the love rival, you do, like, the potential, oh, they love someone else thing. But I feel that you can do this with just Keith, and it works really well.
Yeah. And
it makes it feel even more forced in a way that it shouldn't, especially because, it just, like, I think it makes more sense for Shell to exist in a sphere where he watches Anne doing things, and she gets to interact with another guy who's not an asshole outright to her, and be happy. She should be allowed to have that, and it would be okay for him to get a little jealous and upset. It would all flow really well. Now it just makes Anne feel a little, like, a little one note in terms of the romance dynamic, right? Like, it's that's to me why it's low. I really enjoy the show. It almost certainly probably is a better show than High Card on both a, like, artistic level and, like, the overarching flow of how the story's been. But this week I think I definitely like High Card more. And out of what I was given with this week, I think I'm more excited to watch another episode of High Card than I am Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. But I don't know if that changes the way I vote, which is, I don't know if I care which one of these goes this week.
See, I was gonna say like when we were talking about the two of them, I was like, yeah, High Card probably did like definitely had a better episode, but I think Sugar Apple's a better show overall. But then I realized I put Buddy Daddies over Trigun, even though I think Trigun's a much better show overall. So I couldn't say that because it's just counteracting everything. But fuck you, own show bias.
Yeah. In the end, right? Yes. Like, that's always... Michael, how often do you and I get to be in a situation where it's two of my shows, two of your shows, and one of our other co-host show? Not very often in the past couple of years.
Generally, I pick like one good show, then two fucking out of left field.
Yeah, no, that's about how it goes for me too. Is that I don't.
And then sometimes I win with that, right? But then sometimes I pick two bangers.
Yeah, I
and only one time I got two of them in the top three, and it was dumb.
Man, I'd really love to win a season.
Yeah, pick good.
I think I do.
No, you pick some good shows sometimes. Like this season, you picked some great shows.
You picked some good shows.
Every season.
I'm very glad.
You know what's upsetting? It's that John gets a right to be upset about Horimiya and Dress Up Darling, right? But he's also won. Whereas like, what advantage do I have? I get to go, haha, Michael won with the gay show. Haha, a person who's not even on our podcast anymore won with Skate the Infinity. I don't even get my own bragging rights of like, yeah, it was my show. The show I get to be happy about, that I have a recent victory in, is a show that tied its season, and post it tying its season, everybody retroactively went, yeah, JJK was the better show, duh. Right? Like, I
still absolutely make the argument JJK wasn't better by episode 12.
I think JJK
was better with full 24, but I think with just the 12, Akudama was just the better show.
I think it walks away tied, because I can give that I think Akudama has some things that bog it a little. But God,
my biggest issue with JJK's first 12, and I'll stand by it, is that JJK's strongest suit is its cast,
and it cuts
and we spend 9 of that episodes without it.
Mm.
And it because we get like hints of them. We get the fucking bit with where they visit the side school, and we get to meet Toto and stuff. Like that episode was great, but it's just the issue that like that entire 9-episode thing is just Itadori and Junpei going to the movies.
While I do like it, and I do enjoy the payoff, I think that's one of those arcs that only gets better the longer the product runs. In the moment, it doesn't feel so nice and clean until you realize how much thought is put into the structure of that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's probably great. It's one of those things where it's still like really good thinking back on it. It was just as a 12-episode thing. It was a little annoying to be like, grah, I really like Nobara, and I don't remember his fucking name. Some really bad name memory. Yeah. I was like, damn, I just don't have them now. I get Gojo, which like Gojo's cool and all, but like it gets a little tiring when you have that much of him. Nanami's cool.
Hi guys. By the way, it's me, antagonist advocate Sean. Mahito might be one of my favorite antagonists in fucking media. Oh, there are few characters that elicit such verbal anger out of me just thinking about the things he's done.
Yeah.
Enjoy, Michael.
I'm so excited for all of that to be animated.
It's really weird that the only trailer we have for JJK Season 2 right now is only showing the flashback stuff. Jesus Christ, show, what are you... I get that that's what's gonna be the first, like, couple episodes, but...
It's probably, like, the first 4, I would
3
imagine.
or 4 is how I feel.
Do you like my other name?
What a good fucking name. God, that's fucking great.
I'm glad you liked it. All right. Well, John's response wouldn't have mattered, and we know what it was going to be anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's I mean, yeah, we knew he wasn't winning this season a while ago. Last week, by that we mean. Hi, Tomo-chan, full saves, Buddy Daddy Trigun, full saves, 1 Slay on Sugar Apple, 3 on High Card. Yeah, Sugar Apple's the better show. I'll give it to it in this situation. I hope High Card continues. I hope it keeps doing the stuff it is, because I think this was, again, steps back in the right direction. Hi, the next 2 episodes of High Card are individually titled Finn and Chris, or Chris and Finn. Thanks, show. That's gonna be fucking crazy, I imagine. No, I really like kind of this end pack we have. I'm surprised how much I like the end pack we have. 3 of the shows I knew I was gonna like a lot. One of the shows I like maybe a little less than I was hoping I'd like. Thanks, High Card. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale's a pleasant surprise, I'd say, when it comes to this season. It's much more enjoyable than I thought, and it's a really pretty show.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to be fair, like, we kind of had the rumblings of it with the, like, you don't name a show that and not make it, like, go against the norm.
It's funny because we had a hope that it was going to be very, very different from what it was portrayed as, but this kind of walked in being exactly what it marketed itself as without too much surprise, and it's still really nice. It still does like the darker tone moments really well, while absolutely being a shoujo.
Yes.
But yeah, that's that. We'll be back next week where we decide top 3. Which almost felt crazy to me until I realized shows start airing next week / this week.
That's wild.
I think the earliest show starts airing the 2nd of April.
Yeah.
Woo!
We gotta figure out shows.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what our top 3 could possibly be. I can't even wonder. I'll be excited to see how things wind up. I'll be excited to see how our top 3 shakes out. That will be for sure, I think. Because I think that still is very much dependent on how these shows end, which will be very important. But yeah, that'll be that for tonight's episode. We'll see you guys next week with John, probably.
Yeah,
and he'll talk all about Fort Worth.
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne. That's it. Fort Worth's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Fort Wayne.
Fort Worth is Texas.
Yeah, there was a Yu-Gi-Oh event in Fort Worth a while ago, which is why my brain's been doing that. Fort Wayne. Have a good night, guys. Bye.